Hi, it's Black Gummy, and today I'm going to be talking about my experience with the Spooktober game jam that's happening right now. It hasn't ended yet and won't end until October, but I did this game jam last year for the first time, and I made my own game, and that was pretty intense and pretty stressful. I learned some things about myself, and I really wanted to try again this year, but this time I want to join a team instead of making my own game. So this year I joined the Dream of Rosie Pastries team for this game jam, and it's been pretty interesting. I've been really trying to learn how to work with a team and not be so much in my head and trying to communicate effectively. And so far, I think I've done pretty well. I think I've been pretty present and not withdrawn because I tend to do that sometimes when I'm in online spaces. Now, typically, I do work more character design work than anything else, especially on my YouTube channel. But this time, I wanted to try something else, which I wanted to try to do more background work. Now, I'm not used to doing background work for anyone, so I felt like a game jam was a good time to exercise my skills in terms of team building, but also in my ability to do more background work in general. I have done background work for my own games, and I've done it obviously for like animating and things like that. But this doing it just as art in itself and not just because like in a necessity kind of thing, like having more intentionality with it and being forced to really flex my creativity when it comes to backgrounds was interesting, and I don't really hate it. I actually like that everything has a place. I feel like my brain gets really caught up in this needs to be here in this position here and this, like, I like that. I like the analytical aspect to like figuring out where everything needs to be and how things need to look. I think for doing the backgrounds for this particular game, I've been very impressed with my work and I've been impressed with myself. One thing that was required of me was to have a more like painterly style, have things a little unclear, like, and that was kind of hard for me because I do really like the neatness of backgrounds. Like, I like really neat, clean cut backgrounds and everything isn't really blurred in. Like, there's no blurring of the lines of where things are supposed to be. But I really wanted to try to be a part of this team. So I did end up doing a test exercise to see if I would be a good fit for the position. Luckily I did, and I won't say that I liked the work that I created for the test, but I think that the work I did for the actual game, I can say I'm very proud of. Like, I'm really like patting myself on the back, like, damn, girl, you really did that. You really, really cooked right there. So I'm really proud of myself for that. I do feel like I went a little too hard with the background I'm doing right now. If you're like watching, you can see that I'm like working on a wash bin, and I deal with some like pottery and stuff the in the scene, and I showed my partner the scene in general without the lighting, so he can really get a good picture of everything that's going on. And they thought that like they thought that the pot that I made was real. Like, they thought it was a 3D model. That's how detailed it was. And I was sitting here thinking like, oh, I didn't even think it was that highly rendered. Like, I thought nothing of it because you could see me like working on the pots and pans, and they're not as detailed because honestly I don't need to render something out so much when it's in the background and it's kind of like a dark scene. But yeah, they were like, "Oh, I thought that was real." Like, huh? You did a great job on that. I was just, ooh, okay. Well, I'm just the king of rendering. JK, JK. I'm not. But I was really proud of myself in that moment that I can get that detail, that I can really pay attention to those things. I feel like because I mostly work on characters, I don't really pay attention to environments. Even in my personal life, I really notice that I don't really be looking at things. Like, I just realized the other day that my whole place looked like a box. Like, these things did not click for me because I really just, the background gets blurred out for me in like real life. I don't know what that means, but I just don't really pay attention to it, and I really never thought about it. But the more I've been accepting and like thinking more about the space around me, has me really enjoying and really like excited to do my own work for my own game. Like, I'm excited to make backgrounds for my own game. So this experience has really led me to feel a lot more confident with my own background work. And while I feel a lot more encouraged to continue to make my own like Atoma game and do more of the backgrounds, because I was like kind of stressing about that because I don't really particularly find myself to be a really good background artist. But in doing that live stream that I did, and if you haven't seen my live stream, you should check it out. I did a live stream recently working on the backgrounds of my Atoma game. I'm kind of getting more comfortable with just not having like my art isn't like super amazing and clean and cut. Like, I'm not that guy, and I one day I can be that guy, but I'm not that guy right now. So I'm actually getting used to seeing my work in a different light, that everything doesn't need to be perfect, because it does actually come out pretty good regardless of that. Like, it looks, it doesn't need to be perfect is basically what I'm trying to say. Like, I have to get used to not thinking in the idea and the lens of perfection. In saying that, I also was having a really hard time like figuring out how I should communicate properly while I was working with this team. And not that I had like any major instance of bad communication or anything. I had nothing like that. I think I was just really nervous. I'm always really nervous online because I can't read what people like their expressions, so it makes me very anxious about how people are reacting to what I'm saying, or feeling like I have to be more active, have to be more present in conversations, even if they don't pertain to me, to show that I'm there. And I really struggle with this in Discord because I mostly just lurk, and I know that some people don't really like that, but I don't really always want to engage with people. Sometimes it's really fun for me to just not. And I feel very awkward suddenly talking to people on in a like a Discord where you can already tell there's like a group of people that are just like friends or whatever. And I'm not a part of that friend group. I don't really understand everything that makes them laugh. So, yeah, I'm trying to get better with not being so in my head with how I socialize, and just being very upfront and being as clear as possible without coming across as cold or rude. And it's really hard to do that because tone is so hard to determine through text. But I just state what I need. I'm polite, and I try to engage more if like I realize when I'm talking through live, not live, but whatever it's called, where you like actually can hear people's voices, I'm a lot more energetic. I'm more myself because now I can hear the tone of your voice. Now I have a better idea of like how you're feeling or how to navigate a conversation. But I also feel like, I'm not at a point where I would even have a conversation without prompting. Like, I feel like it's really hard to feel like I'm a part of a team and not just like in my own little corner, which I don't really mind. I do work best sometimes by myself. I can also work with a group, but sometimes it is easier for me to work by myself and kind of just figure things out on my own at my own pace. But it is like when people are like, "Oh, hi," introductions and stuff like that. It's so hard for me. I get so anxious. Um, I hope that I can get better at communicating and being open and sharing not really how I feel, but just sharing my thoughts in the moment about whatever we're doing, because I think I have a good grasp on what I'm doing. I just get really caught in my head when it comes to talking about it. And that's why it's so much easier for me sometimes to talk about it on like through a video and stuff like that, and versus like actually having to talk to people in real time. But I'm very grateful for the experience. It's really been interesting, and I'm glad to be a part of Spooktober Game Jam again. I also really excited to see this game in the finished version. I haven't read anything yet because I want to play the game when it comes out. So I'm really excited to see what it turns out. But other than that, I'm done, and see you later. Bye.
Woke up late this morning, a storm was really rolling. Frogs and dogs are raining from the sky. things are bad and getting worse. But after all this I can rest a while, and then I'll party